What are the pros and cons of being president? And we find that out in our study of presidential history. A lot of the things that have went on and things that have been stressful for a president, things that are creating problems for a president, and what would be the things that you would need to consider if you were considering a run for president? Are you wanting to study presidential history or teach a class on history? The things you would need to present and understand. Well, one of the major things, rewards and all about being president was that simply that you would be able to be a part of history in a greater way, perhaps, than you would in any other way. And then you would be able to affect the lives of a lot of people in a positive way. And perhaps you would be able to be instrumental in stopping a lot of disasters from happening that otherwise would happen. You might be instrumental in stopping wars from happening that would kill millions of people. And that would be a great source of satisfaction and something that you would tend to want to put a lot of effort in, and something that would make the job worthwhile, going through all the stresses and strains of the job. And so that would be a great consideration to be keeping on your mind and saying, well, am I up to the task, and would I be able to handle it so that I could be there to be instrumental in those types of things. And you would be able to also to perhaps affect the lives of millions of people in your own country. You'd be able to be patriotic in a way which you otherwise might not be, and show your love for your country in a way that you otherwise wouldn't be. All these types of things that would, in the end result of it, create a lot of sense of satisfaction and a lot of reward. And I'm going to go into quite a few and in a long list over a period of time, and in new videos and everything, and consider all the pros of being a president and all the rewards of being president, and so forth and so on. And the cons then of presidents, right quick before I go on, would be that it would be a very stressful position that only a few people might be able to actually handle without it just really tearing them apart. And it would very likely, in the instances of most people, it has in some, takes years off your life, just going through. It's depending on what goes on during that time. If you're lucky enough to be president during a time of peace or a time of war or a time of less stress, which we don't see much prospect for there being total freedom of turmoil or stress coming up in the future, times period. And so that needs to be a consideration there. Would you be able to put up with all those things? And then also another one of the cons would be that you're going to have to be ready for emergencies coming up just in a second's notice, even during the night or anything else. Thing can come up suddenly that is unexpected. Your best vision of the future and your best preparation and your best looking at everything, and you would, as president, you would look at everything, and you would need to keep your hand on the pulse of everything that's going on in the security of the country, and the possible hot spots and the possible wars and all the different things, the possible disasters and the riots and everything else, and the proper breaches of security, cyber security, and the breaches of the electric grid, everything that could possibly happen. It'd be a long list. I won't go into all of it, but you need to always try to keep ahead of the game on the thing. But despite all of that, things are going to break down in a second's notice, and you got to be ready with a decision very, very quickly. You don't have time to get in the mood for it. You don't even have time to get woke up good, maybe. But you've got to jump too, and so you got to be Johnny on the spot. And so that's a very serious consideration. The best of people would tend to shudder at the thought of even going through that. And so you got to prepare and make yourself a strong person if you're even considering it. And now, none of this is to talk anybody out of it, but this is to just get you asking yourself, maybe how I would prepare and make myself into the person that would be something I could get along with. and that the rewards would outweigh the pros would outweigh the cons. And with some people, it definitely would, depending on your character and your integrity and your solidness and your stamina and all. The rewards would greatly outweigh the cons of doing it. And so this is not not a negative, but a positive. And then certain types of people with certain types of personalities could actually enjoy all that stress and all of that constant turmoil and so forth. I mean, they could actually get into that. It just depends upon your type of personality. But just giving you a chance to begin to look at those things and study those things. And now, the other con would be, and I'm surprised I didn't bring this up first. The other one of the major cons is going to be all the political wrangling goes on and all of the attempts at backstabbing, and there's always going to be people that don't want you there, and there's always going to be political enemies, and no matter how good you are, you're not going to satisfy everybody all the time, and there's going to be those that are out to get you, no matter how good of a president you know how well the job you do. You've got such things as political parties and people that want power on their side of the aisle and all these kinds of things like this to consider that you would be a constant battle against. But that has to be put in a category and compartmentalized. It's just like fighting the battles in the world when there's turmoil and hot spots and wars going on in the world that you have to get involved in. You got to be able to handle the battles in the battles going on in our very own country between sources of power clashes and personality conflicts and all those types of things. And so, but preparation is the best source of a peace of mind. There's ways to prepare for all these things, what I'm saying. And so the better part of wisdom is to be prepared for any event and to be prepared for any kind of a slight, or be prepared for it to be a job that, like they say, a thankless position by many people, while at the same time you're going to have people that'll thank you more than you would ever even understand, or appreciate you even more than what you'd understand. You're going to have a lot of people that it's going to be a thankless position because they are not going to care or appreciate, no matter how good the decision is, or no matter what you accomplish. It's not bringing power to them. They're not going to appreciate it. And so, now, one of the things which we got going on now that needs to be a matter of definite thought and consideration. We've got a lot of upheavals among the different classes and races of people in this country going on. Now, that's going to be a definite drawback for someone that just does not want to get involved in those squabbles, or just cannot see themselves being able to equally take the side of every race. They're going to line up with one race or the other. Are they going to consider one race superior than the other one? That's not going to work. And that's going to be a great source of dissatisfaction to you if you try that. And so you're just going to have to be prepared from now on. Any president that comes in going to have to be prepared in order to understand how to settle the differences between the races and how to be fair. How to be fair to every race alike and not just your own race. Whatever race the person is that becomes president, they're going to have to be fair to all the other races. And it's going to have to be, and then also, even more than that, how are we going to make this situation in the future become less perilous and less exacerbated and more easy to solve than it is to create more problems that are going to create more racial strife and more riots and more destruction and all these kinds of things. How are we going to be able to bring these things together? Because if you look at all the differences of opinion, there's so many differences of opinion as to what should be done to cause this country to be truly a land that would be the land of opportunity and dreams, a place to live that ultimate dream. What is the phrase that we use? The dream, the land of dreams, the land of opportunity. To be a truly free country where everyone is treated equal, and where the resources are equally distributed, and where there's not a fighting between different people wanting different types of programs established. And so you're going to have all that to deal with. And you'll probably have to put a lot of thought into all the different ways of settling that situation and coming up with a superior idea that has not even been presented yet. No one has even presented a really workable program for dealing with all these issues. Not when it comes to every race. Maybe they have in certain areas. And so we have that. And then, let's see, the language problem. When you talk about borders, language, and culture, how to deal with borders, and how to deal with culture, and how to deal with language. We have a incremental movement away from the English language. And we're going to have to consider, as we get more and more people coming in as immigrants, how are we going to deal with that, and how we're going to not only meet the needs of the people with the different languages and have the proper education available to people in different languages, but we're also going to have to preserve the common language in order to keep people able to communicate with each other. Now, so that's just the beginning of that, but that's to get you started on that. What are we going to do about the English language? And then we've got the parliamentary type system, the democratic type republic, that we are trying to preserve the republic, and how are you going to deal with making sure that the republic is preserved in the way which you set out to go, and yet still take care of all of these problems and still get along with the people that believe one way or the other, whether liberal, progressive, conservative, right, left, right, and all these types of things, and still preserve the republic, and yet take care of the people and their basic needs. Provide the needs that people have. Provide good employment. Provide good opportunity. Provide satisfaction jobs, and still enable them to get the job they need and get along with the jobs that they need. And at the same time, these problems of left, right, and extremism and all will not destroy the country, but will bring people together. A way to bring people together over common goals, because we have at this particular time so many different goals, so many different ideas. And then the problem that is there, that a person on the far left is not going to accept anything that comes from the far right, or that the problem that would solve what's going on the far right is not going to make the person on the far left. It's not going to be acceptable to the person on the far left. These problems are not going to be acceptable unless their solution takes place. And so the solutions being so far apart, it's going to be hard to find a common solution. So we have to have, this is another con of being able to find all these common solutions sufficiently to enable us to march toward a common goal. So we will continue to pray about this, that you'll be able to understand it, and we'll be able to gain a greater vision that will enable us to solve all of these problems. And now, Lord, I just pray that if anybody be sick, that you just raise them up now off of their bed of affliction. Now, and heal their illnesses in the name of Father, in the name of thy Holy Son, Jesus. Heal people of sicknesses and illnesses of every kind, because we are healers, and we know we are. And Lord, just heal them and raise them up, and heal them of any obsession, depression, concession, any other session. And heal them of all their lack of vision and their lack of hope, and all their lack of dreams, and all of their lack of the land of understanding, what will cause their dreams to come true. make everybody's dreams come true, and everybody stay happy and healthy and harmony. We pray all these things in the name of our Holy Son, Jesus. Amen.